Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Prime News on My Media Prime. Thanks for joining today's edition of the news. We're live from Douala, the economic capital of the country. My name is Genda Peldrin Blanche King. A group of armed men were arrested yesterday by the judicial police in Bonanjo. These men are said to have created a gang executing some malicious activities around Douala. They are currently behind bars awaiting justice, as our reporter Nora Kakebi tells us in the following report.
Elements of the judicial police in Bonanjo, in the economic capital Douala, has dismantled a gang of 8 armed bandits who have continually disturbed the peace of the population. These armed men, the law enforcement officers say, operate as a gang in a chain of network attacking the population from one part of town to the other. In carrying out their malicious operations, the officer added, they take turns and shifts to facilitate their actions. The law enforcement officer also says the armed men attack and collect different items such as motorbikes from their victims. According to the police officer, the gang's leader assembles them like a squad and assigns them to different functions.
Premièrement, un dans le groupe qui est le leader, c'est-à-dire celui qui rassemble tous ses complices. C'est à partir de lui que nous l'avons appâté, nous avons interpellé. Un deuxième qui est venu à nouveau, il travaille en groupe, ils ont plusieurs groupes, ils ne travaillent pas, c'est comme dans une équipe de football. Il y a ceux qui travaillent, il y a ceux qui travaillent peut-être un jour après d'autres travail.
Chief of Operations of the Departmental Judicial Police in the Littoral, Harry Anotanga, emphasizes that their sole responsibility is to carefully track and pick up armed robbers who have decided to become a menace to the society. He adds that it usually takes time to track them down, but nonetheless, they are usually caught eventually and the network dismantled.
Nous nous mettons encore au travail pour qu'on démantèle les groupes de bandits de trafiquants qui sont dans le territoire national. Voilà, nous sommes une brigade de terroristes. Nous n'avons pas mis de police. Vous avez vu ce résultat, si c'est pour montrer que nous ne donnons pas et que nous n'avons ménagé aucun effort à ce qui concerne la criminalité civile.
These are some of the weapons used by the armed men to harass and attack the population. One of the thieves confessed he was on his way for another operation with a machete when he was apprehended at Ndokoti. The 8 men are presently behind bars, gnashing their teeth, while the law enforcement officials will spare no effort in doing their job.
A fire incident has reduced Fumban's front gate to ashes. The incident, which occurred late Sunday night, has been termed bad omen by traditionalists. The Sultan was at the scene to perform some purification rites. Audrey Zatsa completes the story.
Le département du Noun s'est réveillé dans la nuit du dimanche 29 novembre au lundi 30 novembre 2020 dans la désolation. Pour cause, la porte d'entrée mythique et historique de Fumban dans la région de l'Ouest Cameroun, qui autrefois attirait touristes et curieux, s'est vue consumée par les flammes. Les causes de cet incident, qui a causé plusieurs dégâts matériaux, sont encore inconnues, mais les spéculations vont bon train. Pour certains, l'absence de la fête traditionnelle Bamoun, le Ngoun, serait à l'origine de l'incident. Programmé il y a 1 an et reporté à une date ultérieure à quelques jours du lancement, beaucoup croient à un mauvais présage. Pour le patriarche notable Njilou Amadou, cette porte d'entrée a une grande histoire.
It was the 11th king, Bombo, who decided to build the entry of Fumban. You know, Fulani people used to come and want to Islamize us by force. So one Bamoun man suggests to the Sultan to build a hole to surround the town with a big hole, so to avoid to avoid for the people to destroy our kingdom.
Pour Madame le maire de la commune de Fumban, Patricia Njoya, c'est l'une des uniques portes d'entrée en son genre dans le Cameroun.
Nous tous qui sommes des Africains, nous savons ce que représente une porte d'entrée d'une ville. Je crois savoir que c'est l'une des uniques portes d'entrée des villes. Nous avons des portes d'entrée de chaufferie, nous avons des portes d'entrée propriété privée, nous avons des portes d'entrée de sites. Mais la porte d'entrée de Fumban est unique en son genre du Cameroun.
Alerté de la situation, Sa Majesté le Sultan Ibrahim Mbombo Njoya, roi des Bamoun, a fait une marche à pied avec son peuple jusqu'au lieu du drame et le grand tam-tam traditionnel, le kidding, a été joué avec le sacrifice d'un bélier à la mémoire des ancêtres fâchés. La cérémonie s'est terminée par une prière écuménique pour éviter le pire dans le pays Bamoun.
With aim of maximizing positive results, some members of PCR and political party have presented their work project in advance to the mayor of Douala 5 in view of upcoming regional elections to take place on December 6. Details in the following report with Gladys Bomotongina.
La course vers les régionales du 6 décembre prochain ne laisse aucun participant en arrière-plan. Le maire de Douala 5e a reçu hier la visite de quelques représentants du PCRN qui ont présenté leur projet de travail et ainsi obtenir une forme de coalition et d'entente dans la gestion de la région. Le bon développement de cette rencontre les a amenés à se souvenir des œuvres de feu phoning comme la plateforme sur laquelle ils sont dévoués à marcher.
C'est un beau mariage. Ce sera certainement une... En tout cas, nous l'espérons. Nous l'espérons, nous sommes sur la voie d'une coalition qui va se faire de la gestion de la région. Et donc, c'est notre projet de société que nous sommes venus présenter au maire RDPC, qui est en fait le maire de Douala 5e. En fait, le maire de Douala 5e, donc, qui doit nous écouter parce qu'il est républicain. Et heureusement, nous avons trouvé la porte ouverte d'un monsieur qui est républicain, qui est profondément républicain, et donc il a écouté notre message, et contrairement à ce que les gens pensent, il nous a même donné des conseils.
Vous savez, l'arrondissement de Douala 5e n'est pas un arrondissement comme tous les autres. Vous vous rappelez encore de la maman, notre très chère maman, Madame Fonine, qui a fait que Douala 5e soit comme l'oreiller du président de la République. C'est pour ça que ce qui se passe à Douala 5e n'est jamais anodin. Nous pensons que ce qui s'est passé ici aujourd'hui est un grand message à envoyer à l'endroit du président de la République et de tous les citoyens camerounais qui sont épris de paix, qui veulent voir la véritable démocratie. Nous croyons qu'aujourd'hui, Dieu nous a donné la sagesse, nous, au PCRN, de nous rapprocher de la même gouvernante, ça veut dire le maire de la commune d'arrondissement de Douala 5e, pour lui présenter notre projet de société et lui dire que nous ne sommes pas les ennemis de la patrie.
De même, Richard Fongouan a apprécié cette visite par ces jeunes Camerounais, candidats au régional pour le compte du PCRN, au regard de leurs échanges et au travers des conseils qu'il leur a octroyés.
J'ai reçu les jeunes Camerounais qui sont candidats aux élections régionales du 6 décembre 2020 dans le parti PCRN et je les ai écoutés, je leur ai donné quelques conseils. C'était un plaisir pour nous les échanges que nous avons eus et je crois qu'ils ont bien suivi les conseils. Je vous remercie.
Ce fut donc une séance de travail déroulée dans une grande sérénité et complicité entre ses partisans du RDPC et du PCRN.
Sons and daughters of Babungo village held their General Assembly over the weekend. In their numbers, they gathered in Limbe to discuss peace, development, and the way forward. Details with Kumanore.
Sons and daughters of Babungo village came out massively over the weekend for the annual General Assembly of the Babungo Cultural Development Association. The General Assembly, which took place under the theme, "The Babungo People as at Today," witnessed the massive participation of various branches from across the nation as well as the diaspora. Welcoming the population, the National President of Babungo Cultural Development Association, Mr. Tumenta Godlove, appreciated the massive turnout of the various branches despite security challenges. He regretted the fact that their plan of action was hindered by the COVID-19 pandemic for the past 6 months. He, however, cited a couple of activities which the association succeeded to realize, amongst which are the construction of schools and health centers in the village, the fight against coronavirus in all branches, support to bereaved members of the association, just to mention but these few. Present during the General Assembly was the paramount ruler of Babungo village, His Royal Highness Ndufwa III, alongside his peers from the Limbe Chiefs Conference. In his keynote address, Ndufwa III thanked sons and daughters of Babungo for upholding the cultural values and tradition of the Babungo people. He reminded them that their coming together is not just to raise funds, but to commune together for the love and unity of their native land and Cameroon at large.
The most important thing was not the money that was being raised, but it was the coming together, communing together, especially as end of years coming very closer, knowing each other and seeing our mothers, our fathers, those coming from far and near.
On his part, the traditional ruler of Batoke village, Chief Otto Mulungu Moliver, the royal man of Central Africa, said his presence during the General Assembly was to promote national unity and solidarity, one of the policies of the New Deal government.
My being here today is not a surprise. It's for us to immortalize our relationship and our living together, like the vision of the head of state. Living together, that is what we, the traditional rulers, we are promoting. That wherever you find yourself, you are in your own country.
More than 12 million francs CFA was raised during the General Assembly to support the rehabilitation of the Fonds Palace, improve on road networks in the village, and support the construction of schools and health centers in the village. The annual General Assembly rounded up with cultural displays and traditional dances of the various branches.
The recent upsurge in rape cases in Cameroon has pushed many non-governmental organizations to strategize on ways of curbing the social ill. Actions for Development and Empowerment has since November 25 been on a 16-day awareness and sensitization tour of some schools in the northwest, far north and center region of the country. Details in the following report with Lasha Kinsley.
Actions for Development and Empowerment, ADE, has since November 25, 2020 been embarking on a 16-day awareness and sensitization tour of some schools in the northwest, far north and center regions on gender-based violence. The 16 days activism with the main message, End Rape Now, is to raise awareness on rape in the school milieu.
We are on the 16 days activism against gender-based violence. So far, we are on the 7th day and we visited approximately 6 schools.
Dr. Beinda Manuela, one of the ADE volunteer medical doctors, is very impressed with the results achieved so far.
It's been an amazing experience so far because, we weren't expecting the reactions we got from the kids. It is believed that sexual discussions in our community today is taboo. A lot of families don't talk with their kids about these things. And so when you come into a school complex like this and you talk, and the children are very receptive of the information, they remember everything you say, and they pledge to, go back into their communities and share this information. It's actually really amazing to look, with all the violence going on in our society today, it's good to know these kids, who are indeed the future of our country, are ready to pass on this information and really make a difference in the country.
This student has pledged to take the news back to her community.
I would like to spread it to my community, my family, my junior ones in the primary section, to educate them on how to prevent rape.
There has been an upsurge in the number of rape cases in Cameroon and other gender-based violence-related cases, especially with the coming of COVID-19. And many are only hoping on initiatives like this one to raise awareness against such societal ills.
Pregnant women have been reminded on the need to beef up health care by constantly attending medical checks during pregnancies. This call was made by medics during a meeting organized by the United Nations Population Fund to review the maternal and prenatal mortality rate in the southwest region. Crise completes the story.
One of the causes of maternal and perinatal mortality rate is the lack of proper healthcare delivery follow-up for pregnant women, while still the rigid attitude of some pregnant women who think that medical issues need to be solved spiritually cannot be underlooked. Such patients often arrive at the hospital when they are already in a very critical state, medics review.
During our reviews, we have seen so many cases that maybe the baby ends up dying, or the mother as a result of believing that maybe my man of God told me that I'm not going to be operated upon. So I think in this stakeholders meeting is mostly experience sharing. We share what takes place in other districts.
Nonetheless, other factors come to play when it concerns maternal and perinatal mortality rates, as the public health delegate notes.
To have the direct and the indirect causes. The direct causes will be postpartum hemorrhage, that is excessive bleeding, core in a woman during pregnancy. Top of the list is malaria. You have cardiopulmonary diseases.
It is on this backdrop that these heads of health district and regional hospital drawn from the Southwest region are meeting in Boya. The aim of this meeting, organized by the United Nations Population Fund in partnership with the Southwest Regional Delegation of Public Health, is to train these healthcare providers on maternal, neonatal and child health care. This is in a bid to curb the maternal and perinatal mortality rate in the Southwest region, which stands at 432 per 100,000 live births.
Increase of population. We need qualified personnel, we need to train personnel. I think that we should be able to reduce for a big rate the mortality.
It's going to help us a lot to assess our effectiveness in the workplace.
Help us to improve our daily work. We need to come and learn how the others are doing, to see if what you are doing is good or where you have to improve to be in a better side.
Through such training, it is hoped that by 2035, maternal and perinatal mortality rate in the Southwest region will be reduced by 70 deaths per 100,000 live births.
Some sons and daughters from the Esu community around Boya and the environs have held their annual come together recently in Boya with the aim of raising funds for developmental purposes. The come together was highly animated with a rich display of the Esu culture, as Dolingonde tells us in the following report.
It is the dawn of the festive season in Cameroon, just like in other parts of the world where cultural, religious and other social activities take central stage to characterize this period of the year. These are some members of the Esu Cultural and Development Association who have come from far and near in honor of the annual general come together. As to what's making this year's annual sitting very much peculiar, the President General of the association says their being here today goes far beyond the need to collect funds for developmental purposes.
For 4 years, schools have been down. Benches destroyed, desks destroyed, windows of classrooms and doors destroyed. So from the needs that have been tabled to us with the association by the schools that are effectively going on now, we have to assist them to see how we can buy them some benches, tables, desks, and maybe supply them some stationaries for classwork.
Unfolding in three main phases, first was the holding of a national executive meeting, then the display of the Esu culture in chants and dancing by the men and women folks respectively, including the presentation of various homemade products, and finally the launch of a fundraising campaign as the President General throws more lights.
One was the national executive meeting. The second part now is actually the cultural aspect of the instrument. The third part of it will be to raise funds, and these funds are destined to see how we can buy some medication and basic necessities for our health center.
And as concerns the way forward, the President General once more.
We pray that peace has actually returned, and then the way forward, as usual, is that per year we usually had our 4 meetings, our 4 fundraisings. So we pray that actually that peace should come back, so that we hold our fundraisings normally.
By the end of the day, participants were enjoined to remain calm while upholding other values to enable an emerging Cameroon come 2035 as they continue to pray for the return of peace in the country.
Today is World AIDS Day, commemorated annually to encourage persons living with AIDS and equally raise awareness. Bokengo Kmer Worthy reports.
Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome (AIDS) is a chronic life-threatening condition, damaging one's immune system and interfering with the body's ability to fight off diseases, viruses, and infections.
On World AIDS Day, we must come together and renew our fight to end AIDS. Working together, we can get back on track to ending the AIDS epidemic and build a healthier, safer world for all of us.
Being a disease that is highly stigmatized, this year's event is commemorated under the theme Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility and Resilience. Regardless of the health talks, campaign, seminars to address issues concerning HIV and AIDS, many individuals whose life can be saved due to early diagnosis are yet to be tested, especially amidst the COVID-19 pandemic.
The challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic mean that the world is losing important ground in the fight to end AIDS as a public health threat by 2030. 26 million people are now on life-saving antiretroviral therapy, but many more people who have HIV and could benefit from treatment have not been tested.
It should be noted that the disease is not a respecter of age, race, or workforce.
We must continue to prioritize the most vulnerable, such as young people and other key populations most affected by HIV. And we need to make sure that frontline health workers are supported and protected.
HIV and AIDS kills at least 970,000 persons across the globe yearly, and data from the United Nations programs on HIV and AIDS indicates that an estimated 2.2 million people became newly infected with the illness as of 2019. Early diagnosis, healthy lifestyle choices, as well as protected intercourse are some major ways to help manage the disease. Happy World AIDS Day. Get tested.
You're still watching Prime News on My Media Prime. For updates from other African countries, Eileen Sama compared the following.
Dozens of people have been killed in Kampala as security forces dispersed supporters of Ugandan presidential candidate Robert Kyagulanyi, known as Bobi Wine. Reports say 4 members of his campaign team have been injured, including one identified as Bobi Wine's music producer, Dan Magic, who was hit in the face. It is worth recalling that 2 weeks ago, 54 people died in protest as Bobi Wine's supporters called for his release. In Somalia, a teacher and 2 other men have been executed by a firing squad after being convicted of carrying out assassinations on behalf of militant Islamist group Al-Shabaab. Their deaths were ordered by a military court in the capital Mogadishu. Kenya is now looking to China for a potential COVID-19 vaccine, according to President Uhuru Kenyatta. The Kenyan leader has given the Ministry of Health the authority to purchase the vaccines from China. The country's decision comes in the wake of rich countries in the West buying nearly 3.8 billion doses of vaccines currently in development, according to a study by Duke Global Health Innovation Center. COVID-19 seems to be making a comeback in Kenya as the cases keep rising, as revealed by Health Minister Mutahi Kangwe on Monday. Islamist militant fighters linked to Al-Qaeda have fired rockets at 3 military bases in northern Mali in what is a rare coordinated attack on foreign forces. French military bases in Kidal, Menaka and Gao were hit, although no deaths or injuries were reported by officials. A spokesman said also that a UN base in Kidal was damaged. Earlier this month, French forces killed the military leader of Mali's most prominent group known as Jenim. France has more than 5,000 troops in the Sahel, but despite international efforts, the jihadist violence has steadily spread from Mali across the region.
In sports, the third edition of the TBT tournament is taking place in Douala. The innovation for this year was the introduction of a basketball camp for kids. Details with sportsman Fabrice Keninga.
The third edition of the basketball tournament has taken place in Douala. The 2 days tournament, which held on Saturday, November 28 and Sunday, November 30, 2020, unfolded in the campus of Lycée Polyvalent de Bonaberry, bringing together athletes from Douala, Yaoundé, Bafoussam, Pumban and Boya. 8 teams in the senior category took part in the tournament, while 7 teams each competed in the junior and veteran categories. There was also a basketball camp for kids between 6 to 14 years old, during which they were schooled on the basics of the game, and each received an attestation of participation from organizers at the end. Boya was represented at the tournament by Volcanic Warriors. Though recording defeat in both games, Coach Emile Bella and his players praised the initiative.
It's a very good initiative. It has helped us tremendously. We just started seeing how we can build a team. We have a challenge that every year we are almost starting at our team from the beginning. So this time we thought that we start with this type of competition before we get to the elite one. We are happy to come and play here. We hardly have of this experiences since we're from the Southwest.
The female team of Volcanic Warriors, however, won second prize in a female gala match won by All Stars Basketball Club of Douala, a selection of players in the littoral region. In the senior men's category, Legendaire Basketball Club backed home the sum of 400,000 francs CFA as champions. Some international basketball players also took part in the tournament.
We have a good player. We have a very, very good player, the international player. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to play with my friend.
Well organized this weekend, and we're going to push hard to try to win.
Here is the president of the basketball tournament.
Yeah, actually I'm the president and the founding member of Ghana Basketball Foundation, and this is the third edition of the TBT tournament. So actually, just decided to come back from traveling there in the US, and I traveled to the US in the basketball scholarship where I played high school and played in college. So I decided to come back to Cameroon or Douala and organize something for the kids growing up and for everybody.
The president of the Cameroon Basketball Federation was among the spectators.
We have come to the end of today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Thanks for being a part. Join us tomorrow at 6:30, God willing, for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. The news was produced by Ewane Elaine Olinga, coordinated by Lasha Kingsley. My name is Genda Peldrin Blanche King. Up next is Prime Hour. Stay tuned to My Media Prime. Good night.